Protecting ourselves, our homes, our cars and our loved ones is of huge importance to most of us. So we've decided to invite Mark Hanson of RIAS to talk to us about how best to go about it in 2014. Since RIAS launched in 1992, it's helped millions of customers untangle the insurance knot. So Mark, what will be the major insurance themes of 2014?
I think for us, what we're finding is that it's all about protecting consumers. Since the financial crisis, obviously the government has put a lot of emphasis on that. We've seen particularly the banks come under scrutiny quite recently with the energy companies. And we recognise insurance that we're not immune from that as well. And therefore we put a lot of focus and emphasis on around how we treat customers fairly, how we make sure that we offer products and services that meet customer needs, and most importantly in an affordable way. And we recognise that obviously affordability is a big theme for all consumers across all walks of life. The good news is that in terms of insurance, prices are coming down. We've seen motor prices actually drop quite considerably over the last 12 months, and the theme is similar for home insurance as well. So I think the good news for consumers is that obviously, it is becoming more affordable, and the marketplace is competitive, and I think that's only healthy and right for choice.
I think it's very good for consumers in 2014.
Absolutely.
So what is the best way of shopping for insurance? How should you go about it?
I think it's a really good question, and one that we get asked a lot of time ourselves. It's all about choice at the end of the day. Customers will want to use different channels for different requirements, and particularly these days it's important for us as an insurance provider that we actually offer those channels of choice and make sure that they're integrated. And what I mean by that, as an example, is that we have an increasing number of consumers that will actually go online, either come direct to a website like our own, or in fact use a price comparison website. Indeed, we find increasingly the trend towards price comparison website for motor. Motor is a very mature channel now where consumers are very comfortable about going and getting a price, but home increasingly so as well. But the important thing is, having got a price, is a lot of our customers, certainly from our own evidence, really value the ability to actually still talk to someone to actually just verify what they've actually put into that website. So it's all about choice, and it's all about integration. I think is the important thing here.
So on price comparison websites, there's various sliders and tools you can use to increase the cover on some areas and reduce it on others. How do you best go about working out which cover you really do need and which you don't?
I think it's a really good question, and at the end of the day, first off, I think we have to recognise insurance is a very personal thing. So each customer, each consumer will have their own personal needs, so it's very important that customers understand what they're after and what they want, and then how they go about choosing that. One of the things that we see a lot is obviously talk about price. Clearly price is important, but price also has to be benchmarked or compared with what you're getting for that cover. A very good example of where we can help customers, there is a independent review service called De Facto, and they sort of do it like a rating service, very similar to have with hotels, like a 1-star to a 5-star. And what it helps is to independently rate all the different products that the insurers offer, so that consumers can see what they're getting like for like. So for example, a 1-star is the least comprehensive cover, through to a 5-star, the most comprehensive. So where they are, for example, using like an aggregator or a price comparison website to be able to look at a price, they can actually then compare that price in terms of what level of cover they're getting as well. So it helps them make a more informed decision in terms of value for money.
So Mark, you've been in the insurance industry for some time. You must have a few tips or tricks for people to reduce, say, car insurance premiums.
Absolutely, and I think the important thing first is we recognise price is important, but we have to help consumers understand that the trade-off they make to lower price. So for example, consumers can choose to pay higher excesses, and that will definitely have an effect in terms of lowering the premium. But the important thing to recognise is that you still take an excess that you can afford to pay back, should, in the unlikely event you have to make a claim, you're able to do so. I think there's other areas as well. So as an example, the ability to have your home security. So where your home is great to security. So for example, with things like alarm systems, and you make your insurance company aware of that, then there'll be discounts for that type of activity. For those customers that don't do a lot of annual mileage, then declaring that will help you to lower your premium. So I think there's really lots of different examples there. But the most important thing is about understanding what you really want and what you value from your insurance, and making sure that your policy covers you for that and doesn't cover you for anything else that you don't need. And that obviously does vary by consumers, but really understand what you're getting for your price is the starting point to actually make sure you're getting the right deal.
Is there any cover that's totally unnecessary for most people?
A good question. I would say no. I think the important thing is about really understanding what the needs those customers are. And for example, why we put a lot of emphasis on our trained advisors, so that when actually a consumer comes and talks to us, we can actually work through them at their pace, what their needs are, and then making sure that we only quote for that need and nothing else. So yeah, it's really important that it's done on needs basis. For some customers, what they find valuable, for others they won't. It's so personal, and that's why we have our trained advisors as an example to help that.
What's the one insurance that people fail to put in place, the big essential that a lot of people ignore because it's either too expensive or they think they don't need it? What is that big thing people should really look at?
Through our own experience, and we deal with a huge amount of claims through our call centres, it's probably two things. The first off is items away from home. So if you're travelling away with an item of the particular value, be it on holiday or just generally travelling, we find a lot of customers don't actually take out cover to actually cover belongings away from the home. So obviously that can be upsetting and costly if you lose something. But actually closer to home as well, the other thing we find out is quite often we don't get customers that take out accidental damage. So for example, if you have a horrible spill of a red wine or something like that on a carpet and they're not covered for that because they haven't actually extended that to accidental damage, we find again that obviously that a lot of those customers experience that. So they would be the two items for me: accidental damage and personal belongings away from the home.
Well, I think there's enough in there to make sure most people are insured fully for 2014. Thank you very much, Mark Hanson.
Thank you very much.